Hello guys, and welcome to the very first episode of the Untold Athlete podcast. In this series, we'll be bringing you conversations with some of the world's top athletes, diving deep into the struggles and challenges that come with competing at the highest level. Our goal is to uncover the unseen side of sport, and through these shared experiences, offer lessons, inspiration, and support for athletes everywhere. For our debut episode, we're excited to bring you a conversation with a footballer who spent the majority of his career in the Premier League, over 500 games across a remarkable 19-year career. So please sit back and enjoy the Untold Athlete with Sylvain Distin. Hello guys, on today's episode we're incredibly fortunate to be sat with a Premier League great. No foreign outfield player has ever played more Premier League games than him, and he also holds the record for the most clearances in Premier League history. Which, yeah, to be fair, if you've seen him, I wouldn't be challenging for a header either. He's an FA Cup winner, a Coupe de la Ligue winner, and believe it or not, he's actually a pretty nice guy. It's a pleasure to welcome the big man himself, the mountain from Bagnolet. It's Sylvain Distin. Sylv, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Very nice to listen to you speaking to me kindly for once. Enjoy that.
It's nice to have you, mate. How's things?
Really well, apart from the weather. But we're getting used to it, living in England for so long.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't a surprise anymore.
No, it's not a surprise, but you never get used to it neither.
So are you training a lot at the moment?
Yeah, as you know, CrossFit. I moved from try to transition from football to CrossFit, which is a tough task at my age and my size, but I really enjoy it. I got some good coach.
Yeah, they're good down in the south, aren't they? CrossFit?
Yeah, a couple are good. The gymnastic one is not great, but the others are really good.
Fair. I'm sure he's trying his best.
Yeah, he's trying hard. That's the most important.
All good, mate. So, what we'd like to start with is just some quick questions, to find a bit more about you. So, number one, football or basketball?
Oof. The truth is basketball. I grew up as an NBA fan. Mm-hmm. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, of course, Spud Webb, Dominic Wilkins. I watch NBA all the time, and I grew up as a massive NBA fan. Football, I started playing by accident, really. So if I have to choose, as a kid, I was dreaming to be like an NBA player, not a football player. I had the Michael Jordan actual size,
Oh, really?
Yeah. I loved
it was the golden era, wasn't it, for basketball?
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it.
Love it. Night in or night out?
Now, night in.
Yeah, I thought that was
now, night in. If you ask me that in my 20s, I would not stay in, but now, no, night in. Some good friends, some good food, can't beat that.
Yeah, love it. Morning person or not a morning person?
Not a morning person.
No.
At all. I'm a night owl. I'd rather go and train at like 10 o'clock in the evening than 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I'm the same. Can't get up and train straight away.
My body, like my head is there, my body is not awake. I can't function properly.
Playing in England or playing in France?
Playing in France for the family, but for the football, playing in England any day is just, I just enjoy it so much. I've still now consider myself so lucky to be able to play for that long in England. Just the stadium, the passion of the fans, the opposition. I play against like top strikers, some of the best strikers in the world. Mm-hmm. Some Ballon d'Or. As a defender, that was just fantastic every weekend.
Running or cycling?
Running.
Running?
Yeah, running. You can see me on a road bike.
I haven't seen you on a road bike.
It's funny.
I've seen you run, and you've not ever looked happy.
I don't enjoy running. I love sprinting. I don't enjoy running. I really don't, but that's the reason why I set myself to do like a marathon, or I always try to do things that I don't really enjoy or that I'm not good at, because it's a challenge. But apart from sprinting, no, running long distance and everything is it's not for me.
Yeah, fair. Books or films?
Films. I try to read a bit more, but I fall asleep every time I read, especially because I try to read in English. Because I think that's going to make my English a bit better. So if I do podcasts like that, people don't have to have the subtitle, to understand me.
Yeah, we're all prepped.
But yeah, good. But I have to be so focused to read in English that it just make me tired.
Yeah, it's an exercise. Yeah, of doing
it's
something.
like I'm not reading like relaxing, and sometimes I have to read the sentence twice.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. It's some really good book now.
Text or call?
It depends who. If it's my parents or people I like, call.
You never call me.
Guess why? A mix of both. Of both, really.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Passionate about sunset?
So I just find it beautiful. That's it. Especially here, we live on the coast. When you see the sunset on the beach and everything, it's stunning.
City living or country living?
I can do both, but if I have to choose one, it depends what city again.
Which city would you pick?
I'd rather live here in Dorset than London, for example.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the beach and the countryside than just big building, and I'd rather stay in as well. Don't get me wrong, I love to go out sometime, but if I have to choose, I'd rather be in. So countryside possibly is a bit more. Something in the middle, like here. Yeah, honestly, it's perfect. It's a mix of both.
Sunny Bournemouth.
Yeah, well,
Shout out Bournemouth.
sunny Bournemouth.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Sil, can you sort of give us a summary about how you started out in football? What your journey started out as, how you became a professional?
Always done a lot of sports as a kid, every sport. As I said before, I was more into NBA and basketball. But one of my best friends was playing football. And the only reason I started to play was we were in the hallway and it's like tile floor. And he had studs in his hand. He said, that's the noise that the stud is doing when you walk in the dressing room. And I just loved the noise. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to come with you and play football. And that's how I started my young career into football. But I was still outside of playing football, doing a lot of basketball and bikes and skateboard and all the stuff. So I've always been really active as a kid, grew up outside all the time, doing a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm. And so you were at PSG's academy.
Yeah.
And then you were released.
Yeah.
And then you played non-league.
I played non-league for 2 years, yeah.
And then PSG came back to you.
I played non-league 2 years, then I signed professional again for 1 year, and then PSG came back. Which I found out at the time that they actually, when they released me, they kept an eye on me. They asked me to come the season before, but not as professional. And I refused to go to Guignon, which was championship level in France. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the season, we had a great season, beat PSG in a final of the Cup. And everybody feel like that's the reason why I went to PSG, because we beat them in the final of the Cup. But we actually started negotiation before. And when I realized I was playing them, I said, we stop all negotiation. I don't want to talk anymore. I want to be focused on the game. And we can go back to doing the negotiation after the game.
How old were you then?
20, I think.
Quite a mature road to go down with how you approach that game at that sort of age.
I just felt like it wasn't right. You know, you talk about joining the club you're going to play against in a final, which for me, I never expected to reach a final. The club and the town where I was playing for, Guignon, will never ever expect to reach a final. I just felt like it was wrong. It didn't feel right with me. So I just put everything on hold for a couple of weeks, played the game, and then we negotiated again, which was good for me because we won. So
yeah,
it was
really
good timing. It was perfect.
So from PSG, when you got signed the second time, how long were you there for?
1 season and a half. Just signed for PSG. For me, that was the dream. I never thought I'd be coming back to PSG and never thought I'd be professional. Signed for PSG, play every game. I go from like Champions League or not professional football 2 seasons before to play Champions League at San Siro and Bayern Munich. And I'm like living the dream daily. Played every game. Everything's going well. And through the season, change of manager, I'm like, what's going to happen? The manager keep playing me, finish the season. I'm like, great. I had some clubs in France who wanted me. I'm like, no, happy at PSG, I'm staying. And then pre-season start and the manager asked me to come to his office. I'm like, well, it was my first professional contract. I was on a low contract. I play every games. They're going to ask me to extend. And I just arrived in his office and he said, we've got too many centre-backs. You're going to have to go. I'm like, hold on a second. Like, a month ago, I just said to you, like, I've got some clubs. I want to stay. If I'm part of the plan, I really want to stay. I don't want to go anywhere. And I've been reassured that I was part of the plan. And now I have to go. So yeah, don't worry, it's fine. We find a club for you anyway. You're going to Bolton. I'm like, what about if I don't want to go to Bolton? What do you mean? Like, no, fine, we agree a deal. You can go to Bolton. And from there on, I think very young, I was quite stubborn. No. So I said, if you don't want me to play, you're the manager. No problem, I have to respect that. But then where I'm going is for me to decide. So I try to stay in France because at the back of my mind, I always wanted to come to England, but I thought I'd get some experience in France, and then maybe I'll come to England. And I said, no, I went and met the manager, which was Samuel Allardyce at the time, but decided not to sign for Bolton. And from there on, I was banned from the team. I was training on my own every day, and it was absolutely horrible. And every week, the manager was going to see me, you're going to go to Bolton? No, I'm not. Okay, cool. And then back training on my own. Until it came a point where my bag was in front of the dressing room, and they said, well, we've got new instructions now. If the team train in the afternoon, you come in the morning. If your team come in the morning, you train in the afternoon. You change in the kids' dressing room, and you don't train on the professional pitch. So I'm like, yeah, cool, no problem. That was hard. I kept strong, had a high and everything, but deep inside I was broken.
Your childhood club.
Yeah, but that's how it is. It's one guy. I remember my teammate at the time said, because I get on well with everyone, so they all say like, listen, we're going to speak to the manager. And everything. I said, no, just leave him. Let him do his stuff, carry on.
How do you go from being a starting centre-back for PSG to, we don't need you anymore, we've got too many?
I don't know.
How does that happen?
I don't know. It's just, as I said, like end of season came and I just wanted to make clear. I said, listen, I'm happy here. I want to stay, but I've got a couple of options. So, and I love to play. If you don't count on me, you tell me it's no hard feelings. I'll just move to another club. No, things was clear. I was part of the team, part of the game I was playing. I played every single game this season. I think it was only one player who played more games than me. So you'd never doubt anything. Yeah. And then a month later, we find someone who accepted an offer. You can go. Like, what about if I don't want to go? But that's how it works. And you quickly understand that. Well, I'm gonna have to deal with that. Like.
Well, it sounds like you were quite lucky that you had quite that stubborn head on your shoulders.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's pride. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but something made me feel like you don't want to play. Okay, it's disappointed, but it's nothing I can do about that. You're the manager, you decide. But then it's not for you to decide where I'm going. I go where I agree to go.
It's impressive having that sort of thought process at that age, though.
You know how stubborn I am, so there's something in my head. Like, honestly, I think it was more respect, and it was a bit more like, you're not deciding for me. Mm-hmm. It's for me to decide that, not that. And that's how I came to Newcastle, because they didn't want to let me go to sign to any club in France that was in competition with them. I didn't want to sign to a club that was like about to get relegated. So Newcastle came as an option, and I'm like, I'll just go there 10 months, and then I come back, and then we'll see. But St. James Park, first stadium you do in England, the atmosphere was unreal. Yeah. I was just playing, and at the same time I was playing, I was looking around like, wow. What's going on? Like sometimes you have to like slap your face and go like, oh, you play a game here, get back on it.
That's a football club.
It's amazing.
It means everything up there.
It's amazing. I did Main Road the last season at Main Road before moving to the Etihad. Main Road was just unreal. And then I signed for City. I was supposed to start Newcastle, ended up signing for City, and I played for City for 5 seasons.
Yeah, long time at City.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, every single club I play for, I was not supposed to leave. And it's always circumstances, and a lot of things happen in football, that people don't understand or don't know. And every time I had to leave, I had to take the decision to leave for different circumstances. But the best thing was to leave every time. So I ended up going to Manchester City. Something similar happened at Manchester City. I played 5 years. I think I signed for 3, extended for 2. And in my fifth season, I was captain, playing every game. Everything was going well. Everybody was happy, and we talk about open negotiation to extend my contract again. Not looked anywhere. I never said to anyone, my agent or anyone, I want to move club or happy to stay. All good. Let's negotiate. It's not going to be complicated because I never been too complicated with that. So just all good. And in the middle of the negotiation, I got a phone call. We accepted an offer for Middlesbrough. You can go and talk to them if you want. I'm like, where does that come from? Like, there was no gossip, there was nothing. I'm like, where does that come from? We talk about, I'm captain at the club, I play every day, every game. We talk about me going to extending my contract. And all of a sudden, you tell me you accept an offer from Middlesbrough. So again, me being stubborn, I'm like, okay, cool. That was Southgate, the manager at the time. Went to meet Gary Southgate out of respect. Decided not to go to Middlesbrough. And from that point on, I'm like, I finish the season and I leave.
Because they'd made a decision
it's
to
done.
Let you go.
You've made my mind up. Mm-hmm. I never thought for a second about leaving, but come the end of the season, I'm leaving. I'm not extending my contract. I was sure I'm not extending my contract.
Who was the manager at City then?
That was Stuart Pearce. I still played. I played every game and everything. I played every game. I played the whole season. I spoke about it with my dad. He said, be careful. Imagine if that's going to play in your head, and if you don't perform really well, you're going to be stuck. You're not going to have a club, or if you get an injury. And I'm like, I'll take the risk. Out of respect for myself, we talk about extending my contract. I'm captain of the club. And now, out of nowhere, you tell me you accepted an offer from someone. Not even like, we had an offer from Middlesbrough. Will you be interested?
Yeah,
then I say, no, they refused the offer. Let's move on. Let's carry on the negotiation. No. We accepted the offer. You can go and speak to them. So in my mind, it was, I'm gone.
Just blindsided.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gone. I finished, it was at 6-7 months, left, 6 months, whatever. I said, I'm gone. And that's why I left. But the fans at City never really understood. They saw I left for the money. It's nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with that at all. And it's very similar everywhere. Newcastle was very similar everywhere. But that's part of football that people don't really see or
No,
understand.
never. And I think it's so important for the armchair fan to know some of these things.
But now with social media, you've got a voice. But at the time, it was no Twitter, it was no nothing. Where are you going to speak? Where are you going to give your side of the story to fans or to people? Where are you going to have a chance to say goodbye or to nothing? Now you see it. After every transfer, you've got a guy putting on Twitter or on Instagram, he put like a message for the fans, and you can give your side of the story. But at my time, it was not possible. You could not speak to anyone. So you leave, and then you can hear gossip, like the fans saying, "Oh, he left for the money," or either. I'm like, what?
Yeah. When you talk about now with social media having that platform, I know I was part of, not the same as football in terms of a club and a business. I was part of a national squad program, and I know I didn't feel like I had much of a voice then. So when you say about when a player leaves a club, they get to sort of release a statement and stuff. If you could put yourself in that position now, do you feel like you could tweet something that would be contrary to something that the club wants you to do?
There's rules, and when you sign your contract, you're not supposed to speak badly about the club or the manager or anyone related to the club or things like that. So you have to be careful about what you say. But at the time, I was changing club. Didn't belong to City anymore, so I could have said anything I want. But you've seen it with Sancho. He did a tweet, and look what happened after that. So players have to be really careful as well. But for me, at the time, I think I would have clarified the situation, saying like, I never asked to leave. We are talking about negotiating. The club accepted an offer, so I've decided that I won't be staying. But I would have loved the fan to understand the reason why, because no matter I enjoyed every single club I played for. I had a lot of pleasure and great relationship with the fans until I leave, because people make story about why you leave. And then, for a fan, if you think, oh, he's going to Portsmouth because he wants more money, it's not great as a fan. Of course, I'll be disappointed if I was a fan as well, but it's a big story behind it. And the season came, and I signed for Portsmouth. And 2 seasons at Portsmouth, won the FA Cup. Fratton Park, we had a great season, so small stadium, amazing atmosphere, won the FA Cup.
Huge fan base as
Everton,
well, crazy fan base.
I played for clubs who had really good fan base.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I enjoyed it everywhere. And again, same happened, having to move from Portsmouth, Everton, and then I thought I'm going to finish my career there at Everton. As soon as I signed for Everton, I think I signed on a Wednesday, traveled back to get my case and everything. I think we play on the Saturday, so I'd only train Friday and then play straight away. And I fell home for the first second.
Really?
Because the manager was just me. It was like hard-working team, honest, hard-working team. And that was all my value were in Everton. So I just fell home right away.
That's a David Moyes team, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you then at Everton.
Yeah.
You spent a long time at Everton.
6 seasons, I think.
6 seasons, yeah. What was the end of your time like? Because you were in that team that, where did you come? Was it 4th or 5th in that Premier League that season?
Well, most of the season we qualified for Europa League, so I think we finished 5th that season. But it was like the highest tally points Everton ever had in the Premier League. And with that, I can't remember any point we had, but in the whole history of Premier League, if you had that many points, you always qualify for Champions League. But it happened that season, it was not enough.
Yeah, that was a crazy season,
it was not enough that season. But I come out of a great season after David Moyes left and Roberto Martinez took the team. So I think it was a really good balance between Martinez's philosophy and way of playing football and the defensive mindset that David Moyes had. And that works really well. Honestly, I finished the season, I was like, that felt easy. Like next season, if we push for it, that'll be great. It didn't go that way.
And it must feel good to finish a season like that, because when you're not in that 5th position all the time, or not necessarily always battling for that 5th position, when you get it, I know I've had moments in my career where I did something I didn't necessarily expect was going to happen, and I thought that was a fluke. Yeah. And to not feel like that, and to feel like we can really push on and do some more, is a good feeling.
I had strong belief that we could push for something better, you know. We need a couple of players and the right position, and we can push for something better. But we had a really strong base with David Moyes. We were, at the time, he was top 4, so-called top 4, and we were battling with them. And when you consider the players they had, the money they had, the investment, the stadium and everything, we had nothing to do there. It wasn't our place. But the mentality the manager brought to the team, the chemistry we had in the dressing room, we were just like, felt like we could fight the world. And we just, most of the season, we qualified for Europa League. So that was great. But we know we are just battling against giants every season.
Yeah, Liverpool got Luis Suarez up top, haven't they, that season? Just
it was
in.
Liverpool. City came out. It was the top 3 originally when I arrived in England, and then with City it turned into a top 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to finish to qualify for Champions League. You had to finish above Liverpool or City or Arsenal or United.
Chelsea.
It was just like, and then you had Chelsea and you had Spurs coming out as well. It was tough. So to finish like 5th or 6th.
It's huge.
It's massive, especially considering the investment of the other team. It was big. I don't think people, possibly now, Everton fans realize because the club is going through a tough time. Mm-hmm. But at the time, it was kind of like normal. And if you don't, it's a bit of a failure. Yeah. But as a player, you know what you're fighting against. You're like, wow, I don't think people realize it was tough. Mm-hmm. But we had such a good atmosphere in the dressing room. It was fantastic. Everton was great.
That Everton team is kind of full of really sort of seasoned Premier League players like Seamus Coleman, Leighton Baines, Phil Jagielka. There was a lot of players in that team that played lots of Premier League games.
Been at Everton for a long time. You have a lot of local lads. The manager was there for a long time. All the backroom staff, they were there for like 6, 7, 8, 10 years. It was it was really family club. The people in the kitchen, the whole stuff, the whole structure. It was really felt like family because people been there for a while.
Yeah, it's that consistency. If someone's in charge for a long time, you don't get loads of changeover, or you shouldn't. And
even with the players, like the spine of the team was the same for like 5, 6 years.
And that's where your identity comes from, isn't it?
We had everything. We knew where we were. You knew what we had to do. We could. I'm not saying like we didn't need David Moyes, but if for one game he was ill or something like that, say, guy, I can't come today. You're gonna have to deal with it yourself. Mm-hmm. We knew who will play. We knew how to play. We knew everything. Yeah, because we were so drilled. Yeah. So drilled. Fantastic manager. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm thinking Everton, I'm smiling, you know.
Yeah.
And then ended up coming back here down south, playing for Bournemouth for one season.
Up the cherries. Yeah, it's football. You rarely do what you want to do in football, to be honest. So what I want to ask you is, what was the biggest challenge that you feel you faced in your career?
There is not one. There's plenty. Blocking the noise from outside. And I think now with social media as well, I don't know how the new generation is doing. It's so intense. But even at my time, that was difficult. It was only newspaper, then Twitter started to come. Yeah. And then Instagram, my end of my career Instagram was there. But Twitter was brutal.
It is, yeah.
It was brutal. So I would say blocking the noise from outside. And then what football is, the truth is football is business for people who own a club. It's business, and you see it as you judged and treated depending on your value. If you play, if you don't play, how much can we sell you for? If we can sell you for good money, you're gonna keep playing. It's a lot of things that are difficult to understand, and especially for me because football has always been passion for me. I'm a competitor. I love the game. I don't really enjoy training. I understand. After being released from the academy and being professional again, I realized that if you want to keep that, you need to train hard. So training hard was just the way to play games. But I've never seen it as a job. So it's a lot of side that I was just like, I'm coming, I'm playing. If I'm playing well, I will play, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of things behind with the managers. It's a lot of things. So yeah, it's a lot more challenges than people can realize. It's not you're not cruising through your career. It's not many players who will cruise through their career. Mm-hmm.
Especially in something like the Premier League, it's just so hard to stay there.
I think it's every league. No matter, even in France, you play in the top league of your country. If you play, you can take France, Spain, England, Italy, Germany. You talk about 500 people in the whole world who can play. Yeah. And then that's the same for France, same for England, same for every country. But if you take Premier League, it's only 500 people in the whole world who can play in the Premier League. So just being there is already amazing. Then staying there is even harder. Yeah, I think it's the same as everything. If you talk to anyone who's been at the top of their game, getting to the top is tough. And then staying at the top, it's even harder because everybody wants your place. Everybody wants your place.
Yeah, the day you do something good, that's the day a target's painted on your back.
Exactly. So that's a tough one as well, yeah.
So sort of touching on something that you said there about blocking out the noise, do you have examples of things that happened in your career where it was particularly noisy?
Oh yeah, well, every weekend, because you win, it's the team the fans of the opposition that's gonna just destroy you. If you lose, if you're on fan, that's gonna destroy you. So every weekend, you're gonna get it. But for me, the toughest time was FA Cup semi-final, just because it's the FA Cup semi-final. On top of that, we play against Liverpool, playing for Everton. It's a massive game. I've had all my families and friends here, and I do a mistake, which football is based on mistake.
Mm-hmm.
If there was no mistake, it'll be no goals.
Yeah.
It's just that for me, it felt like the worst mistake at the worst time.
Yeah.
And that's an action or a pass that I've done, I don't know how many times in my career. I played, whatever, I lost count, of over 450 games. I've done that, I don't know how many times, 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it didn't go right.
It really mattered this time.
And you hope that someone will be there to catch up. It was no one. You hope the goalkeeper going to stop. And he ended up as a goal. And that changed the momentum of the game. We were 1-0 up. They came back 1-1. And I think that changed the momentum of the game. And being me, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I hate to lose. I want to play to win. That just absolutely destroyed me.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, really destroyed me. I had a tough week. I had to get back on track quickly because the following weekend we were playing United.
Yeah.
At United. And the left back was injured, so I had to play left back as well, which is a position that I've not played forever. So tough, really tough. And then you do the mistake to open your social media. And it's a weird one because now, with a bit of time, it was a very small minority of people who were really, really, really harsh. But that's the only one that stick in your
They're
mind.
always the loudest.
You've got like 100 people who said, don't worry, it's a bad things, but it happened. You've been so good for us. Keep strong and everything. You've got so much support. But out of 100 messages like that, you're going to have one who's going to just destroy you. And that's the one that stick in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that make you doubt. And no jokes, I considered stopping football at this time. I really did. After a couple of days, I spoke to my dad and I'm like, I can't see myself going back on a football pitch again. For so many reasons. Am I going to do that mistake again? Am I good enough? It's a shame. I feel ashamed. I don't want people to see me on the football pitch anymore. I'd spent 3 days really, really questioning my career. Mm-hmm. And I had the right people around me. I have to say my teammate and manager have been amazing as well. Most of the fans have been amazing. You talk about like 5%, 10% of your own fans that were tough. The other like 90% have been absolutely amazing because I've been at the club for like 4 or 5 years. They saw me playing the week. They know it was like a mistake. At the worst time, okay, but it was just a mistake. So yeah, that was tough.
And who's the manager at this time?
That was David Moyes.
Oh, okay, yeah, of course.
That was David Moyes. But my teammate have been there. Most of the fans, the staff. Everton is a special club. I had a really, really great time. It was a really family club. Mm-hmm. So that helped a lot.
It's interesting to hear because obviously it's one mistake, and in context, it turned out to be a big mistake.
Yeah.
And you're a switched-on guy. You were very experienced at this point. To hear that mistake that you made, like you said, you've made it 1,000 times, and obviously this time it really mattered. It was a horrible one to make, but to hear how much it made you doubt your ability, your career, the reason to continue.
Everything. Make you doubt everything. Everything, who you are, the reason why you play, everything. Should I stop? Should I change club? How people are going to react? Everything. You've got a million questions going through your head. You doubt everything. Mm. And when you think about it, at this time, I don't know how many games I played, but I've been in England for like 10 years or something like that, if not more than that. So you know what you're capable of doing after 10 years. I knew my level, I knew what I could do, what I could not do, I knew myself really well. But it didn't matter.
When you were having these feelings, is there any part of you thinking, maybe I've had it, maybe I'm done? Or was it just that the mistake hit you so much that you felt like, I need to...
No, a bit of both. You start thinking like, I'm not good enough. And then I think what happened is a few games after that, I remember watching, I can't remember which team it was, but it was like one of the centre-back that I look at, as in like, that's an example. Making a mistake as well and costing a goal. And you're like, if that happened to the best, talking what I see as one of the best, of course it's going to happen to me. So you realize the most important, you're going to make mistake. As I say, 400-something games, I made plenty of mistakes. I costed some goals. I made a lot of good things too. But as a defender, you make a mistake, you cause goals. So the most important is how you react to it. And I think it's weird to say it, but that at the end, once I digested everything and processed everything, that made me stronger. And I felt like, well, I'm going to carry on playing for a long time. And I'll make mistake again. I get back up and I carry on moving. So that did help me. That made me stronger.
I think that outlook is so important in sport and in life, because they always say, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But it's only when you've come out of a really dark period that you realise how much that dark period has done to you. Whether you feel weaker or stronger coming out of it or whatever, the skills that you're taught through adversity, there's nothing like it.
I don't think it's the mistake really that makes you stronger. It's the bad time that you go through after the mistake. If you don't care about your mistake, that's never going to make you stronger. You made a mistake, whatever. You just move on. It's when that really affects you and that really hurts you and all the thought process and all the dark thoughts you can have and all that, that's what makes you stronger. But as you said, only once you come out of it. And you've got a lot of people who don't come out of it. They just stay in that process for a very long time. They've got dark thoughts. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they want to do. And it's a tough one. And you can see it. You can see some athletes performing really well and then they lose a competition or they lose something and all of a sudden it's game over. They never reach that level again. And you're like, how come? And for me, it's because they stay in that process of doubting themselves. So it's only when you come out of it that you get stronger. And it's not easy to come out of it.
I want to just touch on something that you brought up earlier. So the Liverpool game, the semi-final. So after that, you're obviously in a pretty bad place.
Yeah.
Struggling with a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts. So what sort of programs are in place for players, professional football players, when things like this happen?
Nothing at all. It's you with yourself. So if you are the right people around you, as in family and friend, great. If you have the wrong people around you, you're gonna have to deal with it. If you got no one around you, you're gonna have to deal with it. There's nothing. There's nothing. I didn't have anyone to come and say, listen, do you want to speak about it? Or nothing. It was me battling with my own thoughts. I was just lucky that I've got childhood friends that I know since I'm 12 years old. That's still my best friend today. And they're the type of people who, if I do something shit, we're going to say, that's shit, mate. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. They're not here to just live the life with me and be on Instagram on a private jet. They're here because they're my mate. So if I do anything wrong, they will tell me right away.
Nothing to gain from you?
Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing
at all. So my parents as well, it's the same, always been there for me. So I had the right people around me and that's what helped me. But it's no structure there to support you. It's nothing at all. You only sign for a club, you just sign and there you go, it's done.
So the way I think of it is, obviously football clubs are huge entities with a lot of money to spend. And the way I see it is that surely Monday morning you've got a message or an email or something, or someone's come and spoke to you and said, okay, you've got a meeting with a psychologist, the club psychologist today, just to chat through the weekend. And
nothing.
There's nothing like that.
There's nothing at all. It might be now put in place in some club. Mm-hmm. This is not going to be every club, I'm pretty sure. But at the time, nothing at all. You have to deal with your own emotion. And
does the PFA not do any sort of outreach when they see sort of things that could potentially put a footballer in a bad place?
I've never been contacted by the PFA after I stopped football, while playing football, when something bad happened, when something good happened. Nothing.
It's difficult to hear that about a sport where money isn't so much an object, really.
Yeah, but it's business. That's what I said to you, it's business. What they're going to gain from it.
It's just that it is a business. It's just scary to think that the salary for a good sports psychologist wouldn't be worth the benefit to the human beings that are playing football.
It's nothing for them. You don't even have to employ someone. You can just I've got a recommendation for you. If you want to speak to someone, go and speak to so-and-so. And there's nothing put in place. Like nothing at all.
And we see footballers go through some hard times. And obviously we can never know the ins and outs of their life, but you see some fantastic players, and one that's on the top of my head is Dele Alli. Yeah. Someone who's incredibly talented and in form and playing well and looks like he's enjoying himself. Yeah. And then there's a switch. And I think of those switches and I think, is there something going on there where there's not the support for them and something's happened or they're feeling a certain way? And I could be just putting that onto a situation that's got nothing to do with it, but it's scary when you see a switch like that, and when you talk about you were lucky enough to have a decent support system, and if someone isn't.
Yeah, but that's what we said before, about going through tough time, and when you get out of it, you grow. But this type of player never got out of it. And instead of growing, it's like a vicious circle. You're going down and down and down, and it drags you down. And to come out of it, it's tough. It's really, really tough. People won't really either speak about it or think about it because you feel like he's playing football, he's paid good money. I promise you, played 15 years. The only time I think about the money is when you get your pay slip and you're like, I'm lucky. That's once a month. once a month. The rest of the time, never.
Mm-hmm.
Never. And you can have, look, if you took Dele Alli as an example, is lots of other examples. There's some players who just kill themselves.
Yeah.
There's some players who retire early. There's some players, there's tons of examples. These are all the people we don't speak about, because we talk about Premier League and big players. But you talk about like an average Premier League club, you're never going to hear about players that disappear all of a sudden because it's just in a dark place and doesn't have any support. And the support is put in place if people start to speak and it reach the media, then, we try and help. But there's nothing in place there before that.
And we all know that athletes are resilient people. They are. You've had to grow up being resilient.
They have to.
So you learn to be very resilient and to not moan too much. And when you're feeling a bit sad, not to come and speak to anyone.
That's a lie. You know I moan a lot.
Yeah, you love it though. It's just so they are human beings that are taught to be tough and to be resilient and to not speak up too much. And so when things like that happen, it just feels so like the responsibility of the club or the governing body of the players to reach out to that player, because we know that athletes aren't the ones that are necessarily going to be the first to say, I'm struggling.
No, because it's tough. It's not, I think things changing slowly. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's good enough, but things changing. I think it's a bit easier to speak about it now. But is it good? No, not at all. Mm-hmm. I don't think the fan realize the damage they can create to some players, because if you're not in a good place and you open your social media and you get like slaughtered by fans, your own fans, it's not nice. Even when you have a good game and the opposition or fans or something like that just leaves bad comment on your page, you still feel a bit like you question yourself a little bit. You had a good game, so imagine if you're in the wrong place. But that's the same for everyone. You're not in a good place, and every time you walk in the street, you've got people telling you how shit you are, and how mate, you go back home, you're like, I'm not going out anymore.
So how do you deal with it?
It's personal. As I said, I was lucky enough because I was stubborn. I was possibly a bit strong mentally, thanks to my dad. I had good friends, I had my parents around me. So, but not many people have that, not many players or not many athletes. So I was lucky as well. It's a part of luck. Proud, I'm really proud. So that helped me as well not to allow myself to go down too much or too many dark places. Mm-hmm. But speaking about it now, it's fine, everything. But honestly, it was horrible. That FA Cup moment was bad.
And without trying to put you into too bad a headspace.
No, it's fine. I'm okay to speak about it now because it's behind me, and I grew from it. Mm-hmm. I learned and everything, and I grew from it. So I'm okay. I'm happy for people to listen to it. And I had so many people thinking like he doesn't give a shit anyway. He's paid. He's paid next month. You don't understand. Yeah. You don't understand how bad it was. I think the first maybe 5 years of my career, if I lose a game, don't speak to me for 2 days. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was putting my family through as well. Like, for 2 days, don't speak to me. It's only a game. No, it's not only a game. No, it's not. But that depends on your personality. Some players don't care. But I did care so much. I was my biggest critic for all my career. So I didn't need people to add to that on top of it. My manager, or constructive critics will be good, but when it's just like telling someone how it is and go back to your country and all the crap you can hear all the time, you're like, what do you want me to do with that?
So playing in the Premier League, I imagine you experienced your fair share of racism.
I like what you said. I often say that. I never suffered from racism. Mm-hmm. I experienced it, but I never suffered because I'm happy in my shoes. So did I suffer from it? No. Did I experience it? Yeah, not too much in England, to be honest with you. A little bit during that FA Cup moment, which is funny because I tried to go on Twitter to find all the comments, and they're all gone.
They're all gone,
yeah. They're all gone. I find it funny. No, not too much in England, to be honest. And nothing too strong. Okay. It was more like a little jokes and stuff like that, which I always try to put people back to their place when it happened. But playing in Spain or playing in Russia, that was a different story. You talk about not like a comment. You talk about like a stand, like a full stand. That was
constant abuse.
Yeah. But again, for me, it was motivation. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna show you. I said, no problem, I'm going to show you. Yeah. If you think you don't like me, you're going to hate me when you finish that game because I'm going to fight twice harder than I'm supposed to. Yeah. So I always took it that way. But again, if you're in a different mindset, that must be tough. That must be tough. It wasn't for me. I won't say it was enjoyable neither. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's normal. I think a lot more things should be done. But I didn't suffer. I'm happy in my shoes. If I have to to be born tomorrow again, I'm happy to be born the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
I would not change anything. Possibly moan a bit less and a bit less stubborn. But
I don't believe you'd moan any less.
No, it's part of football. It's a shame. And not just football. It's part of the world. You see social media and everything that's happening. You know, it's not right. I just think people now have too much freedom to say whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want.
Yeah.
And I think that should be a bit tamed a little bit.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
If you're racist, you can be racist. You're not going to stop people being racist. But being racist to someone face to face, when I say face to face, again, I've been in England 20 years. I've never been said face to face to me. It's always via social media.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Never met someone in the street who just came and, never happened. So social media. But yeah, I think it's too much freedom.
Yeah.
Too much freedom.
Too many voices.
And when you feel like when it's COVID, if you speak about the vaccine, your account is blocked. But when you're racist, it's not. You feel like, really?
Yeah.
Can you?
Priorities.
Yeah, can you not just do the same? But hey.
So obviously we talked about that FA Cup in particular, but football in general just being a brutal place to be.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that game, for full-time whistle's gone, it's happened.
The mistake still happened, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly as it did. Is there anything you would have done differently in the weeks following that you think would have been healthier for you as an athlete, would have been better for you, would have maybe got you back on your feet a little bit more?
My instinct made me feel like I want to say yes, but in truth, I was back playing the following week.
Mm-hmm.
I still struggled with it for like a couple of months, easily. But I went through it, and everything happened fine after. So it'd be hard to say, I would have changed this or that, because nothing wrong bad came out of it, apart from a few fans hating me for that. And every time if it happened that I bump into an Everton fan who remind me that, I remember the FA Cup, it was tough. I'm like, mate, if you think it was tough for you, imagine for me. Imagine I had to face you all. I was the one who have to walk in the train after the game, heading back to Liverpool, walking through all the players and the family, knowing like, I f***ed up. Like, you can't. It was horrible. People can't understand. So I'm like, if it was hard for you, I'm the one who made the mistake.
Yeah.
And I took it at heart. I love the club. I love my job. Whatever you felt, multiply by 100, that's me. And if someone you love make a mistake, you're going to just put him down, or you're just going to try and help me get out of it. And that was my feeling. I'm like, you're a supporter. You used to support your team. If you play, mistake going to happen. Before me it happened, during me it's going to happen, and after me it's going to happen again. So if you don't try and support the players that you know genuinely is a mistake, is a guy who work hard every game, it's a mistake. It's not someone who doesn't care. Support him, because the quicker I get out of it, the better it's going to be for everyone. But it's really difficult, when things like that happen, you think about you. You always think about you, as you say, like, my mates or this. But yeah, a bit more support. But again, when I'm saying that, 90% of the fans supporting me. Mm-hmm. So it's just that small minority that are so loud and they hurt you so much.
Yeah.
Compared with all the nice people who are there, who's doing what the majority of the fans are doing, supporting you.
Yeah, the amount of good comments you need
to
outdo a bad comment is crazy.
That even that's stain as well the rest of the fans, because when I'm speaking about it now, I have to remind myself that it wasn't the Everton fans. It was just a small minority of Everton fans. So it's hard. It's really difficult to explain.
Did you speak to anyone in that time professionally?
No.
And is there any sort of regret around that? Thinking maybe I could have been a bit better off if I had?
That comes a bit like the question you asked me before. Will I change anything apart from that mistake? I would not have changed anything. If I had to do it again, I would not try and pass the ball to the goalkeeper. I would just kick it like Rosette. Yeah. That's the only things I will change, because the rest was painful, but necessary for me to be the players I became after that as well. So, will I prefer to avoid that? Yeah, for sure. But
I wish we could, man. I wish I could go back.
I wish as well. But no, I don't think I would have changed much. Yeah, possibly having support, but I was lucky that I didn't need it.
So that support system that you did have, just completely vital to you. And maybe had you not had that support system,
friends and family at the time were the most important.
Are you reaching out to them?
And my dogs, because they don't speak, so they don't even understand what happened.
Just easy support.
So, best support.
They love you. You walk in the door, they love you.
They don't know what happened. They don't come like, oh my God, what did you do? No, but it goes far, because like my kids were going to school. And my boy was old enough, but my daughter was not old enough to really understand. She know you lose the football game, but then they go to school, the parents speak, the kids speak, and then she comes back and said, "Oh, you've been really bad." And hey, you're like, "Oh, wow, it's going far, It's going far." Honestly, it's tough moment.
See, I've never been an athlete and a parent, and just the thought of that, your kids going to school and you dealing with a full athletic career, it's so difficult to imagine the balancing act.
It is. You go to school. I used to go and pick up my kids and everything. So you go there, you automatically have some fans as well.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them just come and speak and said, "Oh, sorry about that." Some just look at you like they want to punch you in the face.
And that's just you trying to live
and
your
you have
life.
to deal with that. Yeah, that's me picking my kids from school, trying to move on from what happened. But you always have someone to remind you what happened.
Yeah.
Always, even if you want to move on. Always, no matter you walk, one look, you know what the guy think. You know what the guy think.
Yeah,
so it's tough to move on.
To be. Very tough
it's hard to move on.
Sylvain, if you could give a piece of advice to athletes out there listening, trying to navigate a career, maybe in football, what would that advice be?
From my experience, the most important is your surrounding. I think money spoils everything, and we're lucky when you play football. It's a very mediatic sport and it's a lot of money. It's a very short career. If you play 10 years, it's good. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's really good. So a lot of money, but a lot of tax as well. And a lot of people around you that live on you most of the time, families, friends, and then the lifestyle. And there's a lot of players who struggle at the end. So if you can have the right people around you who, yes, you can always support them, but it's supporting and taking the piss is two different things. But most important is have people who can tell you like, you're wrong there. And for that, it's often the people who don't benefit from you financially. Because if financially they depend on you, why are they going to tell you no? All they want is the money that drop every month or whatever, or you to buy the new car, the new money spoil relationship. Mm-hmm. With friends, with family. We've seen a lot of guys like falling out with their family because of it. Parents, brother, sister. So having the right people around you and live your dream. Like when you play football, you don't come from like a background with a lot of money most of the time. So of course you're gonna have money. You want to buy your dream car. You do it once, twice, but then just try and level things up because your new car not gonna make you happy for 2 days, and then you want the next one and the next one. So take care of your finance and make sure you have the right people around you. It's really important, but it's the most difficult task ever.
Make sure you have people around you that can say no to you.
It's people who can say no, or people who can say you're shit, or people who are not afraid to tell you the truth.
What you need to hear for you.
The truth. Mm-hmm. Not really what you need to hear, because you don't really want to hear you shit or what you've done is crap, or you don't want that. But people who are able to tell you the truth, just the truth, like if you do something that is not right, they can say like, mate, that's not right, that you can't do that again. But it's rare. It's really rare, and it's coming from family or friend most of the time. Or sometimes you've got one teammate in the dressing room, you get on really well. And I've been lucky, I have to say, in every dressing room I had like a senior player who took me a bit under his wing. You know, when I was at PSG, it was Frédéric Dehu. I don't think he played in England, but he played for Barcelona and everything. Mm-hmm. When I went to Newcastle, I had Laurent Robert. Mm-hmm. I went to Man City, I had Ali Benarbia and David Sommeil. Portsmouth, he was Sol Campbell.
Legend.
David James a little bit as well. It's like guys who were there to support you and everything. And then when I moved to Everton, I was old enough to try and support someone. Mm-hmm. So I've been lucky with that as well. Sometimes you've got good players, senior pros who've been there for a while, who've done their career, and they're just there. If they see young kids that come and have the right attitude, they try and help him a bit. But it's tough. I don't think people realize how difficult football is. I really don't. And I think nowadays it's getting worse because of money. And I don't think you're going to see many players playing for 6 years in the same club, or many players doing 15, 20 years or 10 years in the Premier League, because the turnover is just too quick. Yeah. It's just too quick.
In every way, in owners, in managers, in players.
For everything. Yeah. For everything. The contract, the players, the managers, the staff, everything. The owners of a club. That's most of the club that I played for. Not most, every single club. Just 8 years ago, there's new staff, new players, they're all gone. Everything is gone. It's a massive turnover.
So volatile, isn't it?
Yeah, just lack of stability. I think that was the strength of Everton. They were very stable with everything, with the chairman, with the manager, with the staff, with the players. But now There's no time. People want instant result.
You hear the moans about Man United about like losing their identity and things like that. They don't have a club identity anymore, and
that's what's happening to Everton.
Ferguson was there.
That's what's happening to Everton.
Yeah,
they look for their identity and everything, and then they're with the fans, and then it's a lot of things.
In terms of the sort of, we know there's a lot of money within football, and I always think about that. Obviously, when you're an adult, whether you have a lot of money or not a lot of money, it's your job to deal with it. What I always think about is the young lads in academies where the money is, for your age, it's huge.
Yeah.
And how much that sort of can warp you into what the world is and how accessible things are and how able you are to just get money. How did you sort of find that when you first started earning money? Like, what's the keys to getting your finances right? Do clubs come in and sort of, with their academy players, say, oh, you need to spend your money here and here and save this?
There's same as the mental side of it. There's no support, nothing put in place. For me, my 15 years playing in England and even in France, no support. It's for you to find a financial advisor that you can trust, and the only way to trust is to try. So sometimes you try and it goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I've been lucky that my dad was quite cute on all that and helped me a lot. So I managed most of the things with my dad. Again, the importance of having the right people around you. But that's something that should be sorted. It's not right. I have a friend, Luisa, who created like an app to try and help players and athletes in general, called Axis Star. And a stat came out from his Instagram page about the percentage of footballers that goes bankrupt within 5 years of playing football. That was really high. We quickly looked, we think it's 40%, but I'm not sure if it's not higher nowadays.
It's insane. So
40% of footballers are going bankrupt within 5 years of retirement. And out of those 60% left, they're not living the life. It's
they're
maybe
not necessarily all millionaires.
That just means they're not bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean, they're a millionaire and they live the life. So considering the money that footballers earn is crazy, but it's going fast. You've got already, no matter what you can read in the newspaper, you've got 50% going to the tax already. That's a massive chunk. There's your lifestyle. There's supporting your family, supporting your friends. It's going really fast. And your career, if you're lucky, I've done 15 years, but I think nowadays it's going to be very difficult to do 15 years. It was already difficult before. But if you do 10 years, you're lucky. So 10 years, out of 10 years, possibly the first 2-3 years, you're like a young pro, so you're not on much. So you've got like 6-7 years left. And after those 7 years, not everybody's going to be David Beckham and Ronaldo. And so it's a decent money and it's good money. I'm not going to complain, not going to cry. But once you remove all the tax, all the stuff, all the expenses, it's not that much left over 10 years. You retired, I think the legal retirement age is 35 for a footballer.
Oh, wow.
That's the legal retirement age. I retired at 38 and I was 37, 38. I was the older players in the league. So you're going to have a couple of players like now, James Milner or something like that, who's going to be there. But on average, I would say, 34, 35 is getting very difficult to find a club.
Yeah, it's pushing on, isn't it, nowadays in football? Yeah.
So if you play 10 years, you retire at 35, you still have many years to live. And you lived a really good lifestyle. So when you stop playing, it's very difficult to keep the same lifestyle. So mentally it's difficult because you don't have the attention. You're not under the spotlight. Some players love it. Mm-hmm. So mentally that's a very difficult thing to deal with. You're not famous anymore. You're not going to a restaurant in London and people see you at the back of the queue. Oh, Jesus, come on, come in. That's gone. You stop playing, people forget about you. You can't have the same lifestyle. You just start checking your money and you see everything dropping monthly. And you can see the bankruptcy arriving quickly. A lot of players struggle financially and mentally. And again, that's something that they should have support.
Absolutely. I mean, that stat, 40% 5 years after retirement are bankrupt, that just highlights such a huge issue in the management of finances for elite athletes in that sport.
It's something that we rarely speak about.
And Louis Saha's app, you said, what was that called, sorry?
It's called Axis Star.
Axis
Star, yeah. It's a great app. It's basically trying to connect people. It started with football, now it's a little bit more, a bit of everything and singers and actors and everything, but just trying to create a network of people who can ask advice to each other. Because even if you want a financial advisor, where do you start?
Yeah, absolutely.
You 18, you sign your first professional contract, what do? You go on Google, financial advisor. How do you know if the guy you can trust him or not trust him? Because on top of the players going bankrupt for different reasons, one of the main reasons as well is bad investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
They promise you something amazing and it just doesn't go its way and you lose your money. So who do you trust? You're young, you're not coming from like a background with money or anything. how do you find a good financial advisor that you can trust?
And that's something that athletes can download now and they can use now.
It's an app. Yeah, it's an app that. Yeah, no. It's an app. It's changed recently, but it's an app where you've got like a lot of people like me on it. And if you want whatever, you want someone for your image, right? You just drop a question. Hey, who's using this? Who's using that? Where can I find this? And people just drop you a recommendation that they used. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a great service.
That evolved a lot. His application evolved a lot, but it's an interesting one because you ask to people who've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best place to go.
Yeah, some people are going to say, well, I don't have any, or I can't recommend you one. And someone going to say, I work with this guy for 10 years. It works really well. Because that's not put in place by the club.
And now ex-athletes are having to take it upon themselves to try and fix issues that they see in sport, which is essentially what we're trying to do here. Yeah,
well, that's why this is a great podcast. You know, it's a side of not just football. That's high-level athletes, professional athletes that nobody really see, and nobody. I don't know if people want to see that, to be honest with you, because you just watch TV and you just want to judge the performance, but you don't realize everything that's coming on the back of it and what's lead you there and what's keep you there. And so, it's really interesting to speak about that and not just about how amazing footballer I was.
Yeah, we haven't spent long on that at all, have we?
It would have been short. It would have been very short.
So what are you up to now? So post-football, you're training?
My dream was to go to the CrossFit Games as a master, and I watched it last week. Oh my God, I'm so far. I'm like, you know what? I'm not too bad. I'm going to train good for 2 years and unreal. So I need to reevaluate.
I think there might be an issue there though, because I did give you some gymnastics drills and I asked you, have you done them the last 3 times? And you didn't say yes.
The real question is, were the drill good enough for me?
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
That's only a question. And I feel like if you don't answer, it's because you know the answer.
I think a good coach wouldn't program you a drill that wasn't good for you.
You're right. A good coach. You're absolutely right. Now the question is, are you that good coach?
Sylvain, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you. As
My pleasure.
Thank you for sitting down with us. Really appreciate it.
Welcome. And I think it's honestly a great podcast to just give like a point of view that you never see.
Yeah.
That you really never see. So just keep going. All the best with that, mate.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, mate. Take care. And that wraps up our very first episode of the Untold Athlete podcast. Hearing Sylvain's journey was really interesting, and I hope it gave you guys some valuable insights into some of the realities of life as a Premier League footballer. After our conversation, I was really intrigued by Axis Stars, so I did some digging and I actually reached out to them. Axis Stars is all about supporting athletes, making life easier to navigate during and after a career in sport. What really resonated with me is that it's built by people who have been there and understand the unique challenges that athletes face. It's an athlete-centered platform that focuses on providing trusted resources, personal development, and a network of mentors who can help guide you through transitions, just like the conversations we're having here on the Untold Athlete. If you're interested in exploring a space where athletes really do come first, it's definitely worth checking out. You can apply to become an Axis Stars member at www.axisstars.com and use the referral code UNTOLD so they know that we sent you. One favour that I'd like to ask you guys is, if this is something that you believe in or are passionate about, please subscribe, follow and share. Those things really make a difference and will help us reach more athletes and make a bigger impact. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you next time, where we'll be speaking to an incredibly determined athlete about the struggles of weight management, owning your achievements, and the harsh reality of how disposable athletes can feel in the world of sports. It's a very powerful episode, so make sure you don't miss it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you for episode 2.